Hi everyone, my name is Gabrielle Long and I will be teaching you how to conduct a functional analysis procedure. First, what is a functional behavior assessment? A functional behavior assessment enables hypotheses to be made about relations among specific types of environmental events and behaviors. More specifically, they obtain information about the function a behavior serves for a person. The basic procedure for an FBA consists of 5 conditions: the play/control condition, the contingent attention condition, contingent escape condition, the contingent tangible condition, and the alone condition. First, we'll discuss the play/control condition. In this condition, the client's preferred activities and items are continuously available, social attention is provided from the therapist, and no demands are placed on the client. Problem behavior is expected to be low in this condition because reinforcement is always available and there are no demands placed. If problem behavior does occur, the practitioner/therapist will ignore it or neutrally redirect the client to the previously attended activity/item. So, for example, the client is in a room with many preferred items, the therapist is providing social attention to the client, and the client is freely playing with their preferred toys. Then the client starts to scream. The therapist will either 1. Ignore the behavior, or 2. They will neutrally redirect the client back to playing with the preferred toy. Next, we have the contingent attention condition. In this condition, the attention of the practitioner/therapist is diverted or withheld from the client. If problem behavior does occur, the practitioner/therapist will provide attention to the client in the form of mild reprimands or soothing statements. So, for example, the client is playing with the toy while the therapist's attention is diverted. The client then throws the toy across the room. The therapist will provide attention to the client and say something like, "Don't do that, you'll hurt somebody." Next, we have the contingent escape condition. In this condition, the practitioner/therapist will deliver different task demands to the client continuously using a 3-step prompting procedure. So, an example of this 3-step prompting procedure will be: Step 1, the therapist will say, "Throw the ball." Step 2, therapist will model throwing the ball for the client. And Step 3, the therapist will provide hand-over-hand assistance to help the client throw the ball. If problem behavior does occur in this condition, the therapist will provide the client with a break from the task by removing all task materials and stopping the prompts to complete the task. For example, the therapist will say, "Throw the ball." The client engages in tantrum behavior. The therapist will then remove the ball and provide the client with a break from the task. Next, we have the contingent tangible condition. In this condition, the client will have access to a preferred item/activity. After some time, the practitioner/therapist will then remove the preferred item/activity. But it is important to note that there will also still be moderately preferred or neutral preferred items/activities still available to the client, as well as social attention from the therapist. If problem behavior occurs when the problem item/activity is removed, that item/activity will be returned immediately to the client. For example, the client is coloring in a coloring book. The therapist will then say, "My turn," and they will remove the coloring book and the crayons. The client then starts to cry and whine. The therapist will then immediately return the coloring book and the crayons back to the client. Our last condition is the alone condition. In this condition, there is a low level of environmental stimulation that is present. For example, the client will be in a room with little to no toys, and the practitioner/therapist will not be present in the room. They may be in an observing room next door. If problem behavior occurs, then the practitioner/therapist will either ignore it or neutrally redirect the client. For example, the client is in a room with little to no toys, and the therapist is in an observing room next door. The client then engages in self-stimulatory behaviors. The therapist will either 1. Ignore the behavior, or 2. They will enter the room and neutrally block the behavior. I hope this video has been helpful, And good luck to everybody in this class.